You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV welcomes you to our coverage of the Tech Beach Retreat Regional Roadshow Mixer right here at Regis in New Kingston under the theme, The Future of Tech in the Caribbean. I'm your host, Amita Pasadbe. Please stay tuned for highlights.
Welcome, one and all. Firstly, apologies. I was planning to wear my tux today, but we were really working up to the last minute before you came to get this center up and running. There's still a few minor touches for us to put on, but I hope you like what you see. So you are here at Regis. We are the world's largest provider of workplace solutions, ranging from products for if you work from home and you just want a more professional image for your business, if you need to pop in to use a meeting room, or for our core products, which are office space. Fully furnished, or bells and whistles included, from your telecoms, IT, even down to your gourmet coffee or during the day. So if you want to have a look to see what we have to offer, please grab one of the Regis team, and we'll be happy to show you around. We also have some goodie bags for you to take away when you leave. And in them, you would have a free lounge pass. So we want you to come and test out our product. If you want to leave your business cards, we will be also doing a prize draw for a free meeting room for a day. And also, we're running a promotion. So anyone that signs up for Office Space before the end of November, signs up for at least 6 months, we will give you 3 additional months free of charge. So that's a 33% discount. So looking forward to seeing all of those opportunities and those business cards flying in. So thank you very much for popping down, and please grab one of the team if you want to have a look around.
You know, I did a self-guided tour by myself around the space earlier this evening. And, you know, I am shocked at how many offices are in here. It is insane. So when you imagine all of these offices being filled with entrepreneurs and businesses all doing work and the kind of energy that can happen in this space, you really know that we're creating something special here. So thank you again, Darren. And now, Kirk, no wine for you, because I'm going to introduce you right now, the man of the evening, who is going to moderate our panel and introduce our panelists, Kirk Hamilton.
Some people in the room may be asking, what is Tech Beach? I always am fascinated but also thankful when people are willing to come out and hear about something that they have not much a clue of. So that's appreciated. Tech Beach is a platform designed to really set firm an ecosystem in the Caribbean around technology and innovation. Most of us in this room are savvy individuals within the corporate world or business world, or we're entrepreneurs, and we all yearn for a different Jamaica, a different Caribbean. A Caribbean that is forward-thinking, a Caribbean that is faster-paced, a Caribbean that ideas can thrive in, and so someone can come up with something and turn it into even more. And as a 32-year-old individual, I always say to people that the challenge I've faced is, for my 3 decades on Earth, the Jamaica I know, as wonderful as it is, has never seen economic growth in any meaningful way. And I've never witnessed transformation. We're now starting to see a change on the island, and we're very excited about it. But what we feel needs to happen is there needs to be greater levels of opportunity for collaboration. There needs to be obviously greater levels of access to capital. But a lot of times we talk about these things without understanding the fundamentals of how these elements interact and how these things come together and really help to create a true economy, right? There's a conversation nowadays in Jamaica increasingly about inclusive growth. You'll hear that term over and over and over. I'll share with you as we step into this panel discussion and as I give you a little insight into Tech Beach. I usually say to people that a lot of these terminologies come into play in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean 5 or 10 years too late. No different than when we talk about technological innovations and such like that. And so if you think about what inclusivity really means, ultimately we're starting a conversation that says outside the walls of this gathering, there are people who should be involved in our economy who for some reason, for just about all of our entire lives, have been left out of the conversation. And it is suddenly happening that our private sector is acknowledging the reality that the more people who can buy my product in a sustainable manner, the better off I am, right? Personally, I don't think it's rocket science, but it is a shift and a trend that has happened in the world that has actually led to the creation of a lot of the platforms that we aspire to and want to see be successful in the region. So when you think about platforms like Airbnb and Uber and the conveniences that these things deliver to us, ultimately they're built on the pillar of inclusive growth, because what they're saying is we can democratize an industry, bring more people into it by utilizing technology to bring down the costs.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business. Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
The theme of tonight was, or is, the future of technology in the Caribbean. And I'll just go ahead and try to shape the conversation, but ultimately, you know, within Tech Beach, we deal with a lot of emerging technologies that seemingly are shifting the conversation and changing the landscape around the world. And what we really want to look at this evening is, where are we now? Where can we be? And I don't think it would actually hurt to discuss a bit where we're coming from. And I'll just set the tone by saying I think we've come a long way despite the way that we have to go.
I recently started my own tech company, Innovate 10X. I do believe it's a world of digital opportunities right now. I've had left my safety of my 9-to-5 job. I had a very senior position at JMMB. And I think it was about time for me to look and see where I could actually, you know, see where I could make use of these opportunities. And the way I see it now, especially in the Caribbean, and I'll include the Latin American market, you're talking about 40 million people, right? And most of the digital solutions worldwide, if people buy them and try to implement them, they typically just don't work. Because what works in another country, their unique situation, is different from what exists in the Caribbean. And therefore, I see where there are opportunities for us in the Caribbean to still learn from what's going on elsewhere in the world, to partner with those that have actually gone before us and bring those solutions to the region.
Being within the ICD group, which you can explain to folks the makeup of the ICD group, but being within an organization like that that has been around for a long time, you're charged with leading transformation there, which includes a digital focus. I guess at an enterprise level, what do you see happening, especially within an enterprise level organization that has been around?
Right. Okay, so thank you. Hi, everybody. Hi. Okay, everybody's plugged in. Great. So I think the perspective that I bring is actually a bit more unique than just being inside of ICD Group, because most of my working career has been away. And so I've been with ICD for the last 5 years, really charged with, as Kirk has said, transformation. And it started out as digital, but then what we had to create inside is what I think most companies here in Jamaica are missing the mark on. And that is recognizing that in order for digital transformation to be successful, there's a significant amount of people and cultural transformation that has to take place first. And why I say that I think that a lot of corporations are missing that is because outside of even digital transformation, I don't find that in Jamaica there is a significant amount of investment in people and culture, at least not when compared to other countries that I've worked in. And what happens is they tend to push the technology first, push for the change. You know, we need to automate, and you know, we have too many of these things not working, and too much paper, and too many books, and all of that. And so the CIOs will drop a new piece of technology in and say, okay, use that, right? And then everybody's like, okay, make my life more hell, why don't you, right? And so what I've discovered is that if you can enroll the leadership of the organization in where you're headed, from what does transformation look like when you actually have it, right? Then you can help with getting the people that have to actually deliver that transformation to help you get there.
Lauren, I'd like you to give us, from the kind of startup perspective, especially in the age of bringing in completely new solutions into the market, what you see happening in the landscape and how you see things going at the moment.
All right, thanks, Kirk, and good night, everyone. So I'm Lauren Pearton, I'm the CEO of Blue Dot, and we are a decision support services company. In other words, we provide insights via research and data to our clients. You asked initially, where we're coming from, and I think that, like you and I had discussions before, I think it's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur in Jamaica right now. I think there's a lot of opportunities that are present now, especially that were not present when I started Blue Dot 4 years ago, or even when I first went to the Branson Center in 2013 as a little hustler. So, just things such as venture capital or angel investment or even just capital and was non-existent. And now we have all of this capital that's available for young entrepreneurs like myself. SSL, they just invested in us, thanks Lamar. And the outlook is really good.
What I would get to know is, I think everyone on this panel can actually give some insight into technologies that you think will drive the transformation in Jamaica. And this is definitely very open prediction, this is not a class, but I would love to hear from you all, as we hear about things like artificial intelligence and the blockchain and such like that.
Before we get into that, I always have to raise this issue. So in Jamaica, it is nearly impossible to register IP that is not a portion or some sort of mechanical device, because the Patent Act is from 1860-something. So I think that's a good segue, because that is a prohibitor of tech here. It is nearly impossible, and I'm hoping that some people help me to lobby the government for that, from that point of view.
Okay, great. So I think that it's really more basic types of technology that are going to really kickstart things here. And I say that because, so I brought Laren in a couple of times to pitch to different entities within the group. So for those of you that don't know, ICD has 9 groups within the portfolio now, right? And for the more traditional legacy companies, data is really, really, really important. And so I find that any type of technology that has to do with business intelligence or analytics, I think that type of technology will be quite foundational and is something that people can buy into because they get it. They see how it's going to benefit their businesses. And so I think that he's actually in a great space. So anything that is doing analysis, I think for sure.
I think cloud technologies is where it is. So the larger corporations, they would have gotten a head start because they're big, they have the large IT budgets, they have the CRM system, Oracle financial systems and all that. The small enterprise, if they're smart, they can sign up maybe $30 a month US and have a very good CRM system for 5 users or an accounting system that rivals what some of these large organizations are doing. So you can actually have a very efficient organization that rivals the technology that other the larger institutions may have. The cloud technology, like Google technology in terms of sharing and collaboration, that's actually available to everybody. So a lot of these business people, they're so busy, dealing with the sales and the accounting. Again, that's opportunities for entrepreneurs and tech companies to work with these small enterprises and show them that, look, I can really make it a lot more efficient. Robotic process automation has taken on like wildfire over there. It's like where you're giving each person their own personal robot. That's how they're actually pitching it now. But this, again, is cloud-based technology.
Go for God Family Church.
Today's message is for those of you who thought that Jesus was finished.
Inspiring messages.
I'm here to tell you today that you are excellent. God is excellent.
Empowerment from biblical motivation.
To be glorified means to endow with authority. A woman is a powerful, creative being.
Join Pastor Christopher Morgan and the Go for God team as we go for God.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Regis is the global leader in service offices. So service offices here at Regis is all about flexible workspaces and flexible working. So businesses, young startups, entrepreneurs, or existing businesses who are looking for ready-to-use serviced offices where you pay one invoice a month and it's all inclusive. This is the place for you. Whether it's a 4-person outfit or a 20-person business, you can get an office for a day, for a week, for a month, for a year. And our office space is our core product. On top of our kind of core product of office space, we have the virtual office where we will manage your mail, we will manage your answering, we'll manage your telephone, so telephone answering, mail management. And depending on your level of needs, your level of requirements, we have different types of virtual office products. We also have meeting rooms, so clients in the center who need a boardroom or need a project meeting room, they can rent that for a half a day, for an hour, for 2 hours, and they get a discount as clients here. But it's also open to non-clients who need meeting rooms and want a very professional and productive environment. We provide that service too. And then we've got Business Lounge membership, and that membership allows you access to 3,000 Regis lounges right across the world. So if you're a member here, If you're in Miami or London or New York or Singapore, you can go to Regis Centre, you'll turn on your laptop and you'll connect to the Wi-Fi seamlessly. In addition to that, we've got co-working if you just want to rent a desk by the month. We also offer that service. So there's a lot of flexible working solutions and workspaces for the modern day business person, the modern day businesses. So when you look at what we have in our centres in Barbados or in London or in Trinidad or in Hong Kong, we get a diverse mix of businesses. So we're very excited about launching here in Jamaica, launching here in New Kingston. And in a few weeks' time, we'll start to see the community here develop. And we'll start to see a nice thriving business centre happening here. It's going to be very interesting, the types of customers and the types of clients we get coming in our door.
So tonight we explored what is happening in the global landscape from a technology and innovation perspective and the possibilities for development here in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean. How these new innovations are affecting the global business environment, how it's affecting us. Ultimately, we started a discussion on how people in the Caribbean can start building their own solutions, what needs to happen for companies to start going from zero to big enterprise in little to no time, in the way that we've seen things happen with organizations that we all know like Airbnb, Uber, and such like that, which in many cases didn't exist 10, even 15 years ago. Ultimately, what we offer is an all-inclusive campus-style environment where the best in the Caribbean meet the best in the world. And the idea generally is that people are able to connect in a very meaningful way. It's a very immersive experience. We primarily explore emerging technologies, right? So we've sparked a conversation that is not very typical in Jamaica. Things like blockchain technology, robotics, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality. But we look at them from a very practical level. What is happening in business, how things are shifting, and what we are known for is our ability to attract the best in the world, the best in industry in these spaces, right? Including, of course, our very own best in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean as well, right? So some of the speakers include people like Michelle Romano, who's a dragon on Dragon's Den, and also the founder of a company called Clearbank. Founder of Vonage, a gentleman by the name of Jeff Pulver, who's joining our platform for the second time. We have people coming from companies like MasterCard, Airbnb, Google, Facebook, and such like that. We actually have a official Facebook workshop happening at Tech Beach for digital marketers. But then on the other side, we have people like Nadine Matthews from NCB, who's leading the transformation of Jamaica's largest bank. We have people like the CEO of JMB Bank, Jerome Smalling. We have the CEO of BCIC Insurance, which is doing they're doing a lot of interesting things in the insurance space. A gentleman by the name of Peter Levy. So we also tend to look at what is happening on the ground and try and bring those conversations to the table as well, and give them a global platform to share what they're doing with the rest of the world.
So we're here tonight at the Tech Beach Retreat. Mixer, your thoughts?
I thought it was amazing. I mean, what Tech Beach is really good at is bringing the discussion that's happening at Silicon Valley and other places to Kingston, to Jamaica, and we did that again tonight. I mean, we talked a lot about how can we incorporate blockchain and AI into technology and into companies in Jamaica, and the insights that the panel gave were really, really good. So,
all right. Talk to us about Tech Beach itself. You've been before.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I've been every year that it has happened, and every year I can't walk away from the panels that are there because it's so engrossing to have the quality and the caliber of the people that are discussing at a very high level these changes that are going to affect every single human being for the next 10, 20, 30 years. So it's not missable at all. If you're interested in the trends in tech and the future of tech, you have to go to Tech Beach. There's nowhere else to go. Yeah.
The center, Branson Center officially moved to Kingston in 2017 after being Mobay since 2011. How was the transition and why?
It's been really fantastic because 70% of our entrepreneurs are actually based in Kingston, all of our partners, the media, etc. So we feel like we've really had more of an impact and we're more integrated into the entrepreneurship ecosystem being based here in the business hub of Jamaica. And I think we actually also changed our strategy to target scale-up entrepreneurs, growth stage entrepreneurs instead of startups, and that has had really amazing results. Lauren is one of our entrepreneurs. He was on a panel here. He got a great investment this year from SSL Ventures too. And we have a lot of other entrepreneurs like that are investment ready, and you're going to see a lot more of them in the coming months.
What are your thoughts about the Tech Beach Retreat mixer this evening?
I think it's excellent. This is my first time here at the Mingle, and it would be my first time going to the retreat soon. I feel like it's a family here, brothers and sisters, very like-minded persons, and I'm excited to learn. I mean, I'll contribute where I can, but it's really about learning and sharing where we can, you know.
As someone that has a tech-based business, what would you say are some big challenges that are facing, I guess, startup businesses within the technology industry?
Well, you know, a lot of one of the challenges, especially for small businesses, is knowing what is out there. So researching what's the best systems available to you to meet your needs. From a simple point-of-sale system, there are so many out there you can buy, from the hardware to the software, etc. Those are challenges in and of itself. Another thing that maybe, you know, companies don't really pay close attention to is like security. To be really conscious of the risks involved with what you do take on board with your business. So there are a number of others, but those are two ones that jump to mind.
So talk to us about Growth Tech. What is it that you guys do?
Well, Growth Tech is a company that was conceptualized in 2016. So what we're doing is pretty much spreading connectivity in Jamaica, making connectivity like oxygen available to everyone everywhere. And with that, it segues nicely into this Tech Beach event, where they speak a lot about creating an ecosystem of technology to foster growth in Jamaica.
So talk to us about your company, Innovate 10X.
Okay, Innovate 10X is a passion of mine, where I'm actually looking at helping companies go along their digital transformation. So we know that there's a lot of technology out there. There's artificial intelligence, blockchain, big data. It's all happening now. It's now becoming mainstream. But 95% of companies in Jamaica doesn't understand anything about the technology, literally. They're still struggling with accounts payables, inventory management, basic CRM, much less to worry about, where new and emerging technology can help them along their journey.
The panel discussion earlier spoke to challenges within our tech industry here. What would you say is one of the bigger ones?
It's actually still a matter of a lack of funding. I think most banks or people with the capital don't understand how to fund technology. They're still looking like a physical asset, a motor vehicle, a real estate. A funding a tech business. That's a big problem, because tech business is usually built on an idea that you want to produce something that is software based. It's not something that's tangible, something that you can actually touch and feel, right? But we need more people to understand that, to be able to invest in it and feel comfortable that if you stick with the entrepreneur, if they're very determined, you're like to actually make a very good return. Similar like if you're investing in a manufacturing or a distribution company.
And that's it for Business Access TV's coverage of the Tech Beach Retreat Regional Roadshow mixer right here at Regis in New Kingston. I've been your host, Amita Prasad-Webb, and thanks for tuning in. You're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
There's August, the month, and then there's August, the adjective, which means celebrated, honored, distinguished, highly regarded. You get what I mean. But for us here in Jamaica, it's one and the same. It's a special month for us, which is celebrated, distinguished, and of course, highly regarded. Hi, I'm Theodore Henry, and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. This month, it's only fitting that we reflect on Jamaica and how we're able to have our own national symbols, our own currency, judicial systems, among other things. We'll be looking at some of those today, plus so much more. Do stay with us.
Water is precious. So we encourage everyone to practice the 4 R's of water conservation. Always remember to reduce your use of water wherever possible. Replace water wasting devices with water savings devices. Reuse water wherever possible. And wherever leaks are found, please repair them and repair them quickly.
Don't delay. Practice the 4 R's of water conservation today.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, August 7. Jamaica and the Republic of Kenya have signed 4 agreements to facilitate collaboration in sports, culture, tourism, and politics. On Monday, the country's foreign affairs ministers signed a framework agreement on cooperation, as well as a memorandum of understanding on political consultation. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett and the Kenyan Foreign Minister signed a second MOU on cooperation in tourism. And Minister Olivia Grange and her counterpart signed the third MOU on collaboration in the fields of sport, culture, and heritage. The agreements were signed at the office of the Prime Minister on day 1 of the President of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta's 3-day state visit to Jamaica.
As we move to capitalize on our historically positive relations, the President and I agreed that improving trade in goods and services, increasing investments, and facilitating the movement of people must be central to our strategy.
We need to deepen our economic relations, because it's by so doing that we also take our people-to-people relations to the next level.
The Kenyan president arrived in Jamaica Monday morning and proceeded on a packed agenda, which included a bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Andrew Holness and a state dinner hosted by the Governor-General at King's House. President Kenyatta also visited the Bob Marley Museum, National Gallery of Jamaica, and the National Heroes Park, where he laid flowers at the shrine of national hero Marcus Garvey. He also attended the Denby Agricultural, Industrial, and Food Show, and along with his wife were Jamaica's special guests at Tuesday's Independence Grand Gala. The Kenyan president and his delegation departed Jamaica earlier today. The Ministry of Education has developed a strict plan to ensure that the infrastructural needs of schools are met, while government procurement guidelines are strictly adhered to. Minister with Oversight for the Education Portfolio, Carl Samuda, provided details as he made his sectoral presentation in the House of Representatives last Wednesday. A comprehensive audit recently revealed that nearly $1.4 billion is needed to provide furniture and equipment for primary and secondary schools. Mr. Samuda says the ministry's $109 billion infrastructure budget plan will be strictly followed to address those needs.
All projects must
be consistent with the budget and procurement plan of the ministry. No variation from this plan will be tolerated. Strict adherence to procurement guidelines have been reinforced. Except in the cases of sustainable, and it has to be sustainable, assessments of emergencies, no officer will be allowed to breach the guidelines.
The minister says bi-monthly meetings have also been implemented to monitor and ensure adherence to the procurement guidelines. Meanwhile, 70,000 vulnerable students at the primary and early childhood levels will benefit from a breakfast program to be rolled out in September this year. Minister Carl Samuda told Parliament last Wednesday that Nutrition Products Limited had put forward a plan to meet that demand.
The Westmoreland plant, as I mentioned here a short while ago, will be reopened, and they will be preparing fruit juices and package the distribution of local foods for distribution throughout the area. And this venture alone, this decision, will save some 200 jobs.
He says there are also plans to provide the meals to students at an earlier time.
And we're also making efforts to ensure that the food that they are given each day start at 9 o'clock, as early as possible, rather than to wait until almost midday when they're already very hungry and not able to absorb learning.
Regulatory amendments aimed at strengthening the legislative framework to safeguard the assets of pension plans are expected to be in place by early next year. This is according to Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Pernell Charles Jr. He was speaking in the Senate on Friday, where he moved the Pensions, Superannuation Funds and Retirement Schemes Investment Amendment Regulations 2019. The regulations, which were approved by the Senate, were adopted by the House of Representatives in July.
Target dates have been set. I know that Minister Clark is pushing for them to be done by this year, and I would say at latest early quarter 2020.
The amendments, which aim to broaden the range of permissible assets in which pension plans can be invested, are in line with government's thrust towards macroeconomic stability. And finally, the members of the Senate who will form part of a joint select committee to examine the sexual harassment bill have been appointed. The names of the senators were declared during last Friday's sitting of the Upper House.
Senator Cavan Gale, CD, Senator Dr. Sophia Longmore, Senator Carencia Morrison, Senator Donna Scott Motley, Senator Sophia Fraser Binns.
The senators will join members of the lower house who were previously named to consider and report on the sexual harassment bill, which was tabled in the House of Representatives on July 9. The bill seeks to protect all women and men from unwanted sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and crude sexual behaviors that affect quality of life by creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive environment. It further makes provision for the hearing of complaints by a sexual harassment tribunal. This tribunal will comprise 12 members, inclusive of 4 attorneys with more than 10 years of practice and 4 trained and certified mediators who have practiced for at least 2 years. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Catch up on the latest news stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister next.
National Partnership Council agrees on monitoring mechanism for special security measures. Minister Vaz hands over bushfire tracking system to Fire Brigade, and Minister Charles Jr. tours Clarendon water supply systems. I'm Anthony Morgan with Jamaica House Weekly.
In recent discussions with the National Partnership Council, there is agreement that there should be established an articulated and dedicated monitoring and reporting mechanism on law, order, and public safety rooted in the Council.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness in his Emancipation Day message to the nation. He said building consensus on the need to scale up the states of public emergency and the zones of special operations was necessary to continue driving down crime. According to Prime Minister Holness, the National Partnership Agreement framework has been successful in building consensus to drive down debt, diversify energy, and increase the ease of doing business. But he says there has been limited success in finding common ground on the crime-fighting aspects of law, order, and security.
I'm confident, however, that it is within our collective will to use the institutions we have established, such as the National Partnership Council, and which have shown results in building consensus around national issues.
Ahead of Emancipation Day, the Prime Minister attended the Governor-General's Independence Reception. The function was held last Tuesday in observation of the International Decade for People of African Descent. Mr. Holness urged the gathering to unite to right national challenges, including crime and violence.
Tonight is a night for celebration. But as we celebrate, I ask you to contemplate the need for consensus in making Jamaica the safe place we know it can be.
By Wednesday, the Prime Minister, who is also Minister of Defense, was at Up Park Camp for the Jamaica Defense Forces Armed Forces Day Parade. He used the occasion to recognize 200 enlisted members of the JDF with Medals of Honor for General Service. The honors are in effect from May 23 this year, and recipients are drawn from the Jamaica Defense Forces 5 divisions. This year's Armed Forces Day drew a large crowd who received a spectacular show as well as the chance to purchase memorabilia. Over at the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Minister Darrell Vaz was on the road this past week. On Wednesday, he handed over 33 computers to the Jamaica Fire Brigade, which are specially equipped to track, manage, and record bushfires. Minister Vaz said the equipment were timely as the country continues to experience drier than normal conditions. The tracking system is expected to be operational by the end of the year.
These desktop computers that are being presented to the Jamaica Fire Brigade today are part of the ongoing efforts to furnish this critical government department with additional infrastructure. The Caribbean Development Bank must be commended for their part they played in making the funds available for this initiative, and we look forward to the fulfillment of the project's objectives over the next few months.
Since the start of 2019, the island has recorded over 1,000 bushfires. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Pernell Charles Jr., was also on the road this past week. On Wednesday, he toured ongoing upgrades to water supply systems in Clarendon, including Mucko and Rock River. The National Water Commission is currently installing a new water system at Mucko and extending its Rock River supply system to serve over 800 households. Minister Charles Jr. says the installation of piping, replacement of pumping equipment, introduction of 2 new wells, and increasing the NWC supply capacity are progressing smoothly. And that's how we close out Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
Jamaica Eye can help you protect our citizens.
Jamaica Eye will play a part in increasing your public safety.
Jamaica Eye is part of an island-wide network of camera surveillance systems designed to increase the safety of you, our citizens. If you have a camera system outside your home or office facing a public space, log on to jamaicaeye.gov.jm today. Jamaica Eye, we're all connected. The Ministry of National Security, creating a safer and prosperous Jamaica.
The wave of August 6th independence brought with it the right for Jamaica to have its own governing laws and court systems. One such judicial body is the Court of Appeal, which is our final appellate court. Here's a further look at its functions and first world physical design.
Where there is no justice, the people perish.
On any given day, courts throughout the country render the decisions that impact the lives of many people. Our nation entrusts the courts as the final interpreter of the law. The Jamaican legal system is shaped by judicial chambers, such as the Traffic Court, Gun Court, Family Court, Revenue Court, Petty Sessions, the Resident Magistrates Court, the Supreme Court of Jamaica, and the Court of Appeal. Added to the efforts of those seated in these courthouses, the built environment largely impacts the pace of the wheels of justice.
There is too a strong recognition and appreciation that the wheels of justice turn slowly, but I might dare say it grind exceedingly fine. For indeed, dispensing justice is as much a function of the quality and integrity of our learned luminaries of law, and to that we as a nation are not only well endowed and boast a rich legacy of which we can be proud.
Part of that justice legacy is the newly renovated Court of Appeal building, located deep inside the bustle of our capital city, Kingston.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to the symbolic opening of Phase 1 of the expanding Court of Appeal building.
Today marks a significant chapter in the ongoing quest of the Ministry of Justice to upgrade and develop the country's court facilities. Our goal is for courtrooms to be beacons of hope and centers of excellence. Our mission is for our courts to deliver quality service and timely justice to our people.
I want to say how very happy I am with the expansion and relocation of the Court of Appeal. It is a milestone achievement which has significant implications for the people of Jamaica in terms of access to justice.
The $846 million Jamaican dollar structure was made possible through funding support from the European Union. It is outfitted with 3 new courtrooms, 14 judges' chambers, 2 lounges, an expanded registry, and other upgraded facilities.
I stand proud on behalf of the European Union and its 28 member states and share with you this great achievement in Jamaica's history. We are encouraged by these positive achievements, and based on the current rate of progress in implementation of indicators, it is highly likely that the sector will achieve progress.
The expansion was carried out by YP Seaton Contractors, whose detailed architectural plan will provide the nation with a much smoother course of justice.
And I want to congratulate YP Seaton, the architects, because they work 24/7, and most times during the day they could not work because the Court of Appeal was sitting. And so over 70% of the work that they did was actually done after 4 o'clock, right into the night. And believe me, what you will see, ladies and gentlemen, is what I consider to be first-class facilities.
But what does having a first world Court of Appeal mean for the people of Jamaica? And what of the hopes of those dispensing justice in our nation? The Court of Appeal is the highest appellate court in Jamaica, where persons who are dissatisfied with a decision of one of the other courts, except petty sessions, can appeal to. It is the hope of the Ministry of Justice that this renovation will greatly improve the case flow within the court.
And so, with the provision of this outstanding court, this outstanding edifice, the beginning of things to come, we will meet our goal of becoming the best in the Caribbean, one of the best in the world. And when we accomplish this, we will make Jamaica the place to live, work, do business, raise families, and the 5th one, retire in peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jamaica can be a peaceful place. It must be a peaceful place, and the justice sector will play a pivotal role in ensuring not only peace and justice, but prosperity for all of our people.
Coffee was introduced to Jamaica in 1728. Creighton Estate was established around 1765, and the Blue Mountain Range and the central region of Jamaica, which is the Grand Ridge of Jamaica, were the major coffee producing regions. Currently, we are fully certified under the Rainforest Alliance, and we are the very first entity in the Caribbean region to attain that certification. Now, the Blue Mountain Range of Jamaica is a microclimate of the island and has provided the perfect conditions for growing the Arabica coffee.
typical day in the Blue Mountain, the most sunlight is in the mornings from about 11:32 to 4 p.m. You know, this is the weather that we experience. This is a norm in the Blue Mountain. It's nothing unusual, you know, for the range to be covered with mist. And after sunset, the temperature basically goes below 20 degrees Celsius. So those are the perfect ingredients to develop high quality coffee. You know, the culture here is rich. We're an extremely creative, you know, set of people. In Jamaica, there's everything. If you're a nature lover, we have it. If you like the wetlands, we have it. You know, great coffee, you know, great food. You know, God has been good to us. You know, the God has been good to us. The universe has been good to us, you know, as a country. And this rock, I love it, man. I love it.
As we mentioned earlier, August for us also marks our historic opportunity to carve out our own national symbols, including the national tree, the Blue Maho. And if you don't know much about the tree and what it can be used for, then watch this.
The Blue Maho belongs to a family called Malvaceae. It's the same family that includes ornamental shrubs like shoeblack. So the scientific name for the Blue Maho is Hibiscus elatus. I imagine that the specific name, which is the elatus, would indicate the fact that it is lofty and grows to great heights. The Blue Maho, as everyone knows, is our national tree. Jamaica has well over hundreds of native trees. It's easy to understand that the combination of characteristics that makes the Maho unique is probably what gave it the edge over all those other hundreds of trees. The native range of the Blue Maho is to the northeastern corner of Jamaica, which is Portland, sections of the Junkra Mountain. The Blue Maho blooms in the latter part of the calendar. The typical color is a kind of flaming reddish orange. It's more red than orange. The older the flower becomes, the redder it becomes. It bears a pod that splits in the drier part of the early section of the year, the first quarter of the year. And the forestry department propagates the species by collecting the pods. We process them by drying them in trays, and then we extract the seeds. The traditional uses is a fairly wide array. It's used for furnishings, for furniture, for turnery, so you can make articles out of it.
The beauty of it is not much seen when you just cut it, but when the furniture is made and you look at it, you see various colors, and it go in streak and streak. And they're not looking so nice until when they varnish it. It's not stained or anything, just when they polish it off when it's finished. So they use it a lot now. It's strong. It reminds me of the Lignum vitae, but the Lignum vitae doesn't have those streaks in it like the Blue Maho. So it makes it very special.
I think people confuse the name Lignum vitae and the name Blue Maho with their roles as national symbols, the one being the national flower and the other being the national tree.
Protect
Jamaica, plant your grass. Help us become more resilient to climate change impacts. Protect Jamaica, plant a tree. It improves the island's national biodiversity. Trees may be fruit, ornamental, or timber, but must be native or suitable to the area's natural landscape. Join the Jamaica Million Tree Campaign and help to plant 1 million trees by June 30, 2019. This is a call to action by the National Environment and Planning Agency.
Jamaica is such a unique land with stories that can last a lifetime. And added to being an independent nation, we can't deny that we have some very creative minds. Here are some facts you may not know about our country. Number 1, Jamaica was the first Western country outside of Europe and North America to build a railroad system, and that was back in 1845. Jamaica became the first British colony territory to establish a postal service in 1688. Jamaica also became the first Caribbean country to launch a website, and that was www.jamaicatravel.com in 1994. And our last point, famous Jamaican Dr. Thomas P. Leckie. He developed 2 new breeds of cattle through selective breeding and his understanding of genetics. They were specially created to thrive in Jamaica's tropical conditions. We've come a far way as a nation, and there is still so much to achieve. So let us all continue working together to truly make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business, and of course, be the place of innovations.
I love waking up every day in this country. This is where I was born and raised. I have such a passion for my country, and for me, this is home. In Jamaica, a lot of people, they look at just like beach, sea, sand, but our mountains are something to behold. It's majestic up there, and it's a different type of peace. It's a different type of lifestyle completely. I could mention many different places that are amazing, but the one thing I do love about Jamaica as well is that you can find that relaxation, you can find that chill in your backyard. Apart from it being an incredibly beautiful country, an incredibly beautiful island, we have a wonderful, wonderful culture, wonderful, vibrant, colorful people. There is definitely a realness to Jamaica. There's definitely something that no matter what keeps you in touch with reality here. Why come to Jamaica? It all comes back down to Jamaica as a whole. The food, the music, the culture, the people, the climate. Come out and meet us, come out and experience what Jamaica has to offer.
And this is where we leave you for today, but do join us again tomorrow for what promises to be another informative edition. If you missed anything, you can watch it all again on our website or our YouTube channel. And don't forget to keep up with us via our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages. But before we leave, here's a task. Go out today, pick up a book, do some research, and learn something about our history and our culture. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. You take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On Point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Violence against women is a violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term physical, mental, and sexual consequences, sometimes resulting in death. It negatively impacts women's general well-being and can prevent us from fully participating in society. Be a better human being. No more violence against women. No more.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
This week on Cameo, we take a look at Jamaica's growing animation nation and speak to 3 individuals who are making their marks. You're now in tune with Cameo. The chaos of creativity meets the stricture of structure on Business Access TV's Cameo.
Kenya Mattis is passionate about music, media, and marketing. She is CEO of Listen Me Caribbean, co-creator, producer, and editor of The League of the Maroons, which is a Caribbean-based comic and an interactive app.
The League of Maroons is a digital app. It's actually an interactive Caribbean comic, and it's based on 4 children in present times who just found out at the age of 13 that they're actually Maroon descendants. And at that age came superpowers, so now they're fighting traditional mythical Caribbean characters like Rolling Calf, Old Haig, and others which I don't want to give away too soon. It was an investment of time, effort, and money. In terms of time, it took us about, I'd say, close to a year to get to the point that we are at now. We started about last year this time. In terms of funds up front and over time, we're looking at an investment of about $5 to $10 million. We decided that we wanted to, first of all, assemble a team that would be high quality, whose talent would be undoubtable, and whose value would be reflected in the quality of the work. And so by doing that, we've created something that I think is definitely worth the $3, the $3.50, that price tag that we've put onto it. And that's because we wanted to create something that was world class. So a lot of times when people look at it, they say, is this made in Jamaica? Is this actually a Jamaican product? And it is. So we think that it stands side by side with anything else that you can get from any app store, and that's Amazon, Google, and also Apple.
Worldwide mobile app usage stood at 1,186 million in 2013 and is expected to reach 4.4 billion at the end of 2017.
We think that this is a product that can tap into various markets. One, the tourism market. Secondly, the local children market, especially for the Tablets for Schools program just now being brought forward by e-learning, and also the Jamaican or Caribbean diaspora. And we've been seeing some traction with that already. In the case of tourists, our first download was actually by a gentleman from Portugal who came to Jamaica and said, I had been looking for a very creative souvenir to take back home, and I just found it in the League of Maroons. In the case of the diaspora, we've been getting some very good feedback from persons overseas who are like, wow, we've been looking for something that we can use to share our culture with our families. And also with the students, we've been having various focus groups and doing a school tour locally, and the impact has been phenomenal as well there. The marketing strategy is actually threefold. Firstly, we wanted to go on the ground. We wanted to get direct feedback from persons who are touching a very innovative product. And that's very important in this space, because in Jamaica in particular, it's still a novel concept. When you're talking about you're doing a comic, that's an app. That's not being printed right now. So getting persons to really see it and be in touch with it at trade fairs, on TV, that's very important. The second strategy is also to promote it online. What we'll be starting very soon is a very strong social media campaign where persons can see the characters, get to know the storyline, and fall in love with these traditional characters as well as these new characters that we're introducing. The third strategy is also to look at partners who we think would also benefit from coming on board. So there are various brands that we think using this medium, we can also add legs to the program. Household brands, food brands, brands that are targeting children. And so far we've been getting some very, very good responses. Right now we're in very early talks about having an animated series be developed from the title, as well as a game. So there are various spin-off projects or products that we think can really help to build the audience and the excitement around the title, The League of Maroons. We decided to choose this platform, Google Play, Amazon, and the Apple App Store as our primary modes of distribution right now, primarily because we think that's where the future is. If we were to go print, sometimes you don't know who your consumers are, where they're from, or what's their story, and you don't really get real live reporting on what's happening. We're finding now that I can tell you, yesterday we made a sale in China. 2 days ago, we made another sale in the US, and 2 persons from St. Catherine, Jamaica bought copies. You know what I mean? So that's very valuable information for a very young product like ours to know where to market and where our consumers are based. In terms of how well it's doing, there's 2 strategies that we've been pursuing. There's an online and an offline strategy, and I'll explain a bit more. While we think that the online strategy in terms of sales on the app platforms is very good for international attention and just putting yourself out there just to find out where demand is, we also have to pursue a strategy locally that can help persons who would want to access the content in bulk to be able to do so. So far we've made, I would say, about 300 sales or 300 downloads, and that's by a combination of us packaging the content for certain persons who actually want to give it to a school, for instance, so we've made school donations, as well as persons who bought online. To local animators who are trying to earn from their talent, I would strongly suggest an online distribution strategy. For companies based in the Caribbean, it's still a fresh area, although it's pretty standard in other places, and I'll tell you why. The very first day that we were going live on the Google Play platform, that was the day that Jamaican app developers were allowed to sell apps on the Google Play Store. Before that, you could put apps up as we have done before, but they had to be free. So now we're finding that the opportunity is becoming more democratic internationally for app developers in small developing countries like ours to actually earn from our work. And as I'm saying, although it's established in like the US and other countries, now the gates are being opened. So I would definitely recommend that with a strong marketing strategy, that local animators can also team together and find ways to put our work in a package that can attract the attention of persons in the diaspora, but anyone else who's interested in really awesome content.
Coming up next, we speak to Cabby Chronicles' Anif Lachman.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Cabby Chronicles is an animated comedy about a cab driver navigating the modern-day complexities of Jamaican life. I spoke with Anif Lakshman, who is the creative director, and he spoke to us about the successes, challenges, and of course the future of the award-winning show.
Mr. 1, 2, 3, we're there on a journey. From crossroads, go a halfway tree.
So how did Cabby Chronicles come about?
That pretty much came about as a need to express ourselves as creative people. We all had our opinions and of course had our talents that we recognized. Once we pooled all of that, we had a strong voice. So that's pretty much where that came out of.
Cabby Chronicles started on Flow.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yes, there was a film festival in Trinidad and Tobago, animation festival, sorry, in Trinidad and Tobago. When we returned from that festival, Flow approached us and put the offering, or the first episode on Flow. And of course, we had to work really hard to keep up and give them additional episodes. That went pretty good. We did very well on the on-demand service. We outsold all the major TV shows, all the major networks. And it was quite unexpected, to be honest. More than anything else, I wanted, as much of Jamaica to experience the series as possible. So we made the move to TVJ and of course, got quite a bit of attention there as well.
Flops, Fluffy Empress, Fluffy Empress, I love you with your excess, yeah.
Going into a project of that nature, what were some of the challenges that you faced?
I think the biggest challenge we faced was resources. Trying to get things done and not have the resources was kind of difficult. It forced us to be creative and to reach outside of ourselves to achieve a common goal. Some of the biggest challenges we find as well is that the business of TV, the business of animation is something that we don't have a lot of experience and exposure in. So that, of course, that's some teething pain right there, the learning curve to understand the business and understand how to monetize what we're doing, how to make the production be as efficient as possible so you can sell a product at a level where you can make some money. Going to film festivals, animation festivals worldwide is always good. You get to meet some people and of course understand the industry a little bit more. It can be expensive, but this is where we'd love the government, Jam Pro, all these people to pitch in and of course find ways to finance parts of the trip to these festivals so that we can learn more and come back and of course make the industry much bigger and better.
Don't yeah, come baby, come the man, ready, don't.
So what type of budget did Cabby Chronicles need to get off the ground?
There was no budget at all. We just kind of worked really hard, hoping to just put our best foot forward and just show the world what we can do.
So by being on television, what kind of impact do you think Cabby Chronicles had on the local animation industry?
Well, a lot more people saw animation and a lot more people got exposed to the art of storytelling through animation. And people began to see what was possible using our own stories.
So what steps do local animators need to take to get their work into mainstream media?
A very important part of that, I think, is storytelling, being able to tell a good story and of course be able to execute on a high level that internationally can be recognized.
Would you say that Cabby Chronicles was a profitable venture for your company?
It was profitable. I think there is opportunity for it to be much more profitable. And for the most part, yes, we have had some kind of profit.
So, in regards to more profit, what are the future plans for Cabby Chronicles?
Future plans, of course, involve gaming, app development. We're looking to expand to the full half-hour series. That, of course, involves a bigger budget, which is what we're trying to do right now. Get the budget to expand to full half-hour episodes.
Jamaica 50, we have glasses, we have bags, see them here. What, Cabby, buy some now.
Better the world them to make a China.
True, you're talking, Cabby.
So for your extended series, what would you need to allow that to come about?
On the low end, we're looking at $1.5 million US. On the high end, we're looking at about $4 million.
So in regards to financing something like that, how would you go about financing? You need an investor?
That's a very important question. There are things that can be done. Co-production is one way we can look at that, where for instance, our country, Jamaica, can have a co-production treaty with another country, and they would essentially get the funding, and both countries own the production and share in the profit along with the producers. You can also get an investor who, of course, would see the vision and, of course, put the backing behind that. Or you must stand up on the goal. I find that, we can achieve pretty much anything we want. When I look back at what we've done, it seemed like a huge task, but at the time it seemed like we're just having fun.
Do you think sponsors are willing to support bringing more local animation content to local television?
I definitely think so. There is definitely a space for that. I think that's something that can happen and will happen in the short run. We've seen, along with Cabby Chronicles, we've seen other productions. So I think there's definitely room where that can happen.
What kind of advice would you give to any up-and-coming animator or anyone who wants to get into the industry?
I think a very important part of it is understanding that it's about connecting with the audience. Telling a good story is very important. Aside from that, you have to be able to execute, of course, understanding production and understanding what needs to be done to bring the work to a level where internationally it can be seen as something of quality.
Cabby Chronicles was successful. Do you think it would be a lot easier for your company to push more projects?
I definitely think so. Today, everywhere I go, people who know that I've been a part of Cabby Chronicles are very open and very happy about the product, and I definitely see products we're working on right now. We're getting a lot of exposure because of what we've done in the past. So it definitely has raised our profile a lot more.
So what are you working on right now?
We're working on Magnus the Mongoose. Interestingly, one of the characters, Amita, who has your name, that pretty much is aimed at preschool children, 3 to 6 year old children. We have a game for them that we have developed right now. We're putting that out on Android and iOS and on the website. And of course looking to develop that into a full-blown TV series as well. So the books are out, and it's a reading series that right now we have 6 stories. So we're looking to get those out as fast as possible.
Alrighty. Well, thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we talk to JANN President Kevin Jackson.
We are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
The Jamaican Animation Nation Network was founded in 2012 to represent the interests of animators and practitioners of motion in order to facilitate growth. We spoke to JANN President Kevin Jackson.
The Jamaica Animation Nation Network, or JAN for short, is a trade association for the animation industry, similar to what the Jamaica Manufacturers Association is for manufacturing, or the Jamaica Bankers Association is for banking. We're pretty much a guiding force and umbrella organization for the industry.
So what kind of opportunities exist locally for animators?
Well, animation is used in a variety of mediums. Commercials, TV series, music videos, movies, special effects and monsters and that sort of thing. You have outsourcing. Outsourcing is pretty much when a company from overseas, they pretty much hire someone in another country, usually, because they can get cheaper labor in that country, cheaper than from in their country, and pretty much a company out here with the skills to produce that level of animation would bid for such a job and essentially, get a piece of that pie, that production.
Can animation be a profitable venture?
Yes, it can be a profitable venture. For example, in outsourcing, with Family Guy, for example, one episode of Family Guy costs about $1 million US. Right? I don't remember which year, but I think it had recently increased to like $2 million US for just one episode. And several animators, hundreds of animators work on that animation for like about 9 months. Now, what usually happens is, in the United States, the cost of producing animation might be really high, but they will seek to, outsource animation to other countries. And of course, the salaries that you'd earn in the US would probably be significantly higher than what you'd be earning in the Caribbean, for example, or India and so on. So there's a lot of money to be made. Some deals are worth in the millions, some in the hundreds of thousands. So bringing deals like that to Jamaica could definitely turn into profit.
What is being done to facilitate growth within the sector?
Well, the animation sector is it's an expensive sector, but at the same time, it's a sector that can generate a lot of money. You might have heard that, people talking about the $222 billion that it produces each year. So it takes money to make money. And the government, in collaboration with World Bank, they have actually been collaborating to put money into training institutions like HART and the universities, University of West Indies, UTEC. They also offer training courses. And once we have enough trained personnel or people, we'll have the capacity to take on a lot of these outsourced jobs.
What types of investment, monetary or otherwise, do you think need to be made into the sector?
Well, we definitely need private sector to invest more in, startup animation studios, because the more studios that we have, the more outsourcing jobs we can take in, as well as the more original content we can produce. And we can also, collaborate with studios in other countries, because even if we don't have the capacity, tying with another studio to make up the numbers, that can also really help in bringing in more opportunities.
So what's the biggest challenge to the local animation sector?
Well, capital can be a challenge, equipment as well, bringing in equipment. Of course, finding trained animators can be a challenge, and also, getting into the distribution pipeline.
So how can an animator turn their passion into a profit?
Well, what I would definitely recommend is that animators, one, keep practicing and expose your talent as much as possible. Promote yourself, get training. Training can come in the form of being in a traditional training facility like a university or a HART, for example, or you can learn online. A lot of information is online. I myself taught animator. I've learned everything that I know online, and I'm still learning. I buy the books that people recommend. So I definitely suggest going that route, promoting yourself, interning with companies where you can. You don't even have to intern, in Jamaica. You can intern with people online. There are lots of people, who will take animators, distance. Right now, technology is such that you can work from anywhere in the world.
We see all these big animation flicks coming out of Disney, Pixar, and so on. How far away are local animators from making a full-length animation feature?
Skill-wise, I've seen the skills that show promise. It shows that we can definitely get there someday. What definitely prohibits us would be cost, but of course, there's always the option of working on a project with an overseas company. So it probably wouldn't be completely Jamaican, but it would definitely be significantly Jamaican. And Jamaicans have been working on a lot of big productions. There's a Jamaican working in Disney, for example.
So how capital intensive is animation itself? Is it a case where the equipment is cheap, but training it by itself would take up the majority of your costs?
Not just training, and I mean it depends, because let's say, for example, if you are opening what's called a boutique studio, which probably like say 5 to 10 animators, and you're doing original content, you have more control, you have more control over what type of equipment you buy. You know, you could buy some computers that are affordable and get software that's affordable. And, you know, if you have the talent, you can create your production or pipeline and, you know, start animating. It's still costly, but not as costly as if you're doing outsourcing now, where you have to get a certain type of software because you're plugging into someone else's pipeline. So you need to use the software that they use, which might be cost prohibitive. So the investment will be larger. You might need a certain types of computer. You're going to need, data server to host your database and do your rendering. And by rendering, what I mean is, if you're familiar with video editing, when you're actually now producing the video, you know, actually putting it in that format to be put on TV, that's very, very intensive, you know, processing power and all of that. So you have to think about that. You also have to think about the fact that if you're opening a studio that has a physical space, there's the rent, the lights, and of course there is the training. We do have some people who are self-taught and very talented, but of course, if you want to, you know, really ensure that there's an even level of quality, you know, of course it would help to get everybody trained on the same level, and that can be costly, but I usually think of that as probably like a one-time cost compared to paying for electricity for the life of the company, or, you know, having to upgrade your computers every 3 or 4 years, you know. So yeah, it can be labor intensive. It's pretty much like running any company.
And that's it for Cameo this week. We spoke to 3 individuals making their mark in the animation nation right here in Jamaica. I've been your host, Amita Prasad-Webb. Until next time,
I do have a dream, and I know you have a dream, that we can make Jamaica the place of choice for you to choose to live, to work, to do business.
We are going for the Jamaica we want. Making steady progress to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in our National Development Plan, Vision 2030 Jamaica. We have teamed up with valued partners, working through strong institutions to reduce inequalities in our society. We commit to being responsible in our production and consumption, ensuring we build sustainable communities in harmony with nature. Jamaica is making significant strides in providing quality, lifelong education for all, enabling our people to be engaged in decent work to drive economic growth, equipping men and women with the skills to build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industry, foster innovation, and utilize new technologies. Urgent action is being taken to manage natural resources responsibly, protecting clean water sources, ensuring access to water and sanitation for all, diversifying to alternative energy sources, conserving our environment and sustaining life below water and on land. Jamaica is making moves to ensure healthy lifestyles for the well-being of our people. We're promoting sustainable agriculture to achieve food security, improve nutrition, and end extreme hunger, putting in the work to end poverty in all its forms. We're on track in achieving our Sustainable Development Goals through realizing our Vision 2030 Jamaica. We will leave no one behind.
And I'm chilling right now because we're winning right now.
Violence is bad. Violence against our innocent little children is terrible. Pretending not to notice when we know or suspect that a child is suffering is awful. and morally wrong. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener realization of a nation's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Think about that for a second. I have a voice. It's one of my gifts. I intend to use it on behalf of our children. No more violence against our children. Make your move to stop violence against our children right now. No more. No more. No more.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious.
Serious.
Serious about business.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange celebrates 50 years of adding value to the Jamaican economy to personal and corporate investment portfolios. Tonight, the stock exchange looks back from 1969 to 2019, where it has been hailed the world's leading stock exchange. I'm Elon Parkinson. This is Business Access TV, serious about business.
Good evening, and welcome to the JSE's 50th anniversary cocktails and award ceremony. A round of applause, please. My name is Terry Carell Reed, and I stand here honored to be your MC for this evening for a number of reasons. Number one, for any company, whether domestic or international, to achieve 50 years is an indication of the stewardship, the vision, the innovation, and the adaptation throughout the years. Do you agree? It is also a reflection of the persons who stand behind the brand or the company. Those persons are the staff, the companies that listed, brokers, and of course, investors. Without all of you, none of this would be possible. Number two, I was swollen with pride when I opened the Bloomberg article and I saw, "Welcome to Jamaica, the home of the world's best performing stock market." And I clutched the pearls that I wasn't wearing and I said, "This is rich, real rich." I saw photos of Mrs. Street Forrest. I saw Mrs. Rita Humphreys Lewin. These were people that I've seen in my local newspapers. And I said, look at Jamaica. Very small, very obscure market. So I stand here honored to be the MC for a company that is a nation builder. Lastly, I'm happy to stand here because years ago I was financially illiterate. Saving, yes, because most of us as Jamaicans, that's what we do, right? We save, but we don't necessarily know about investment. And my best friend came to me and he said, "Terry, with all the saving that you've been doing, I think you should make your money work for you. I think you should invest." And I said, "But no, investment is for rich people, money people," which I'm not. But I'm grateful for my broker, Ryan Strong, who introduced me to the Jamaica Stock Exchange, introduced me to companies listed. And now I stand here with a portfolio that has moved from being very, 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 very conservative to being moderately risky. And on my daughter's 7th birthday, I awarded her, I should say, I gifted her her own portfolio. So you see, thank you very much. So I stand here not just as your MC for this evening, but I stand here as a very proud Jamaican. I stand here as a shareholder, and I stand here as an empowered citizen, changing the way my generation will think when it comes to handling and investing money. So thank you so very much for being here. We have a fantastic evening lined up for you.
It's with a sense of pride, nostalgia, and eager anticipation that I welcome you here this evening. As I contemplated my welcome to you, the single most important element of our journey, that's the 50th journey, that resonates with me is that since 1968, we have come this far through teamwork, perseverance, and a deep understanding of our mission. I believe it is an understanding rooted in the fact that the exchange's success is not singularly for shareholders, the government, or the financial community, but for the entire Jamaica. I did not have to go very far to find a poem, a quotable quote, or the words of some famous author to communicate what has been our reason for being for over these 50 years, as our jingle that one hears when you call the stock exchange says it all. 50 years of practicing transparency, integrity, and efficiency to protect and advance stakeholders' welfare, the Jamaica Stock Exchange. I know many people are familiar with that jingle. JSE for you and me, benefit from listing and investing, Jamaica Stock Exchange. This is a call that we have been making over the years to encourage investors, to encourage companies, to encourage Jamaica to see the stock exchange as the vehicle for wealth creation. It is through these principles and the rallying cry that we have weathered the storm and embraced the victories of being resolute and militant and becoming the Jamaica Stock Exchange triumphant in accomplishments, especially that of being named the best performing exchange globally for 2015 and 2018. Indeed, we are little but tallow. A journey of 50 years is a blessing. We thank God for the lessons learned, the experiences gained, and the wisdom that comes through the process of perseverance and tenacity. From a paper-covered meeting table at the Bank of Jamaica to an efficient computer-based network system that is linked into an electronic trading platform where transactions are automatically matched and settlements are processed in a paperless environment. And to our credit, we did that before the New York Stock Exchange. From being a private, closely held mutual company to becoming a demutualized exchange with publicly held and listed shares. We have consistently made progress, and our highest points were when we demutualized and listed our shares on April 1, 2008 and July 23, 2013, respectively, and when we launched the junior market on April 1, 2009. I paused for that because I think it was a signal moment. These occasions signal a new era. In the case of demutualization, we separated the regulatory arm of the exchange from the commercial functions, so as to eliminate any perception of conflict of interest and to ensure a fair, orderly, and transparent market for shares and other securities traded on the market. This has brought a high degree of confidence to the market. In listing our shares on the exchange, we expanded our ownership base and subjected ourselves to the same rules and regulations governing other listed companies. And that was hard, because some of the times when you are regulating, you don't know how hard it is until you actually start doing it yourself. Finally, in launching the junior market, we provided greater access to capital, which encouraged and expanded investor base. These experiences have strengthened our core. The progress we have made was not achieved without setbacks and challenges, and the path we have clearly charted over the years for further expansion of the capital market locally, regionally, and globally is oftentimes slow and painful. However, our pledge to you going forward is that we will continue to seek out and deliver market opportunities in a deliberate and constructive manner, exercising good judgment as we seek to expand our markets. In the words of Coffee, I told you we are young. Gratitude is a must. We thank God for the journey, the earnings, and just for the plus. Gratitude is a must. Once again, welcome. I invite you to enjoy the rest of the evening's proceedings.
Thank you so very much for having us. And of course, gratitude is a must.
A journey of 50 years for the Jamaica Stock Exchange. When we come back, the awards.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
So we have now come to the awards presentation segment, and I invite the great Mr. Michael Anthony Cuff to join me on stage, and together we'll present the awards, which will be done in 3 categories. Please make him welcome. So we have 3 categories: the 60s, known as the formative years, the 70s to 90s, the shaping years, and the millennium, the technological era.
This is a period of ska music in Jamaica and the birth of the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Absolutely. At this time, we pause to invite to the stage Mr. Ian McNaughton, Chairman of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, who will present the awards to the recipients in this category. We begin with founding member. The first award is in recognition of his sterling contribution to the development and establishment of the JSE. He was a man of vision for the financial sector and was instrumental in helping to lay a solid foundation for the JSE in 1968, from which the exchange has grown strong, thanks to his early works and blessings over the years, even up to January 2019. He's dubbed by various names in Jamaica and across the world, but to the JSE, he's the architect and bridge builder of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. The JSE is proud to honor his name, his undeniable legacy, and his vision that formed the JSE to becoming the #1 stock exchange in the world, not once, but twice. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor and humility that we wholeheartedly present the first and most deserving award to the late, Most Honorable Edward Seaga, former Prime Minister of Jamaica.
I invite you all to stand and join hands in applause as Mr. Edwin Mackey makes his way to collect the award on behalf of Mr. Seaga's family. We now move to the affiliated companies. Now, the second set of awards will be presented to 5 affiliated companies that were instrumental in contributing to the development of the JSE by providing persons to serve on the board. In no particular order, Terry.
The first award goes to the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Jamaica.
The second award goes to the Bank of Jamaica.
And the third award, the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service.
And award number 4 goes to the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica.
We move to the next category, listed companies since inception. The third set of awards will be presented to 6 companies that have been listed on the exchange since inception in ranking order of seniority. The first award goes to Panjam Investments Limited.
The second award goes to, I knew this organization, but it was just called the Bank of Nova Scotia Jamaica Limited. Now, these days, Scotia Bank Jamaica Limited.
The third award goes to the Caribbean Cement Company.
Award number 4 goes to Carreras Limited.
And the fifth award goes to Salado Foods Jamaica Limited.
So the 6th award will be given to the Cleaner Company Limited.
And the 7th award goes to the Jamaica Public Service Company Limited. Okay, I don't believe we have a representative for JPSCO. So now we move to longest member dealer. Ladies and gentlemen, the award goes to NCB Capital Markets Limited, formerly known as Edward Gale and Company Limited.
In this segment, awards will be given to those who have built on the foundation of the JSE and assisted in its shaping by making significant contributions to its growth and development. Now, the first award goes to a remarkable woman who is the first and only female chairperson of a stock exchange in the Caribbean. She's also the longest-serving chairperson of the JSE, leading the Jamaica Stock Exchange in this capacity from 1984 to 1986, and again from 1995 to 2000. Ladies and gentlemen, I speak of none other than Mrs. Rita Humphreys Lewin.
So we now move to the longest serving board members. The second recipient of this award is the longest serving member of the JSE's board. This gentleman stands as the quiet colossus of the Jamaican stock market. Ladies and gentlemen, the award goes to Mr. Edwin Mackey, CD. The other awardee in this category goes to none other than Mr. Alvaro Casali, CDJP. This gentleman is the longest serving board member of the Jamaica Central Securities Depository and the JCSD's Trustee Services Limited.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Through the years here at the Jamaica Stock Exchange's 50 years in service, let's go back to more awards.
Next, we have the third category. This is the millennium, the technology age. This category is to recognize those who contributed to the dynamics of catapulting into another age, the age of technology. Boy, I tell you. You know, these awards will be given to those who further continued to build bigger layers on what was already there, and who saw greater vision of possibilities as time evolved into another dimension. So we're going to now honor past chairman of the JSE. The first recipient is someone who was board chairman from 2000 to 2006. I speak of Mr. Roy Johnson, JD.
Let us hear it for the board chairman who served from 2006 to 2011, Mr. Curtis Martin.
We move next to the board chairman from 2014 to 2016, Mr. Alan Lewis.
The next two awards will be presented to the persons who served as general manager of the Jamaica Stock Exchange's subsidiary, the Jamaica Central Securities Depository, JCSD, since its inception in 2008. The first of the two awards will be presented to the general manager who served the JCSD from 2003 to 2004 and moved on to serve the JSE in a similar capacity and subsequently to an even higher capacity. Ladies and gentlemen, I speak of none other than Mrs. Marlene Street Forrest, CDJP.
The second and last award is being presented to the general manager who served from 2005 to 2017 and steered several ventures of the JCSD, including the birth of the JCSD's subsidiary, the JCSD's Trustees Services Limited, and that award goes to Mr. Robin Levy.
This segment of awards is for those dubbed the architects of the junior market. They helped to carve and mold the ins and outs of the junior market, and it would not be possible for the junior market to be established without them. In recognition of your sterling contribution to the development of the JSE's junior market, we recognize this gentleman, the Honorable Audley Shaw. The first company to be listed on the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange is Access Financial Services Limited. Congratulations. We also have to recognize Senator Don Webby, who was instrumental in lobbying the government for the tax incentives. Mr. Stephen Whittingham, a board member of the JSE, will collect the award on behalf of Mr. Webby. We now recognize the steering committee of the junior market, beginning with Mr. Leo Williams. We'll move to another Williams, Mr. Christopher Williams. He is followed by Miss Judith Ramlogan. And last but not least, recognizing the members of the steering committee of the junior market, Mrs. Marlene Street Forrest.
Looking back to outstanding achievements by former general managers and chairpersons of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Coming up next, the employees.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bills? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, no organization can be built without the employees' contribution. And tonight, the Jamaica Stock Exchange takes great pleasure in recognizing its employees that have contributed to building the stock exchange over the years, which has led to the company receiving numerous awards and recognition, locally and globally. And for the stock exchange being named not once, but twice, in 2015 and in 2018, as the best performing stock exchange in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the staff of the JSE for contribution to the stock exchange 25 years and counting. This award goes to Mrs. Charlotte Eddie Nugent for contribution. This now is for JSE 20 years and over. Number 1, Mrs. Doreen Parsons Smith. Next we have Mrs. Suzette White. As we welcome our next recipient, Miss Suzette Price. Let's make welcome Miss Michelle Serdar. Up next, Mrs. Annette Ferran Hedman. JSE has benefited handsomely, tremendously under her guidance and direction. I speak of none other than the inimitable Mrs. Marlene Street Forrest.
So we move on to the recipients, and we honor them for their contribution to the exchange 15 years and over. Beginning with Miss Suzette McNaught. The next recipient in this category is Miss Ricalia Robb. Our next recipient is Mr. Byron Winter. He is followed by Mr. Neville Noble. And closing out the category 15 years and over is Miss Tracy Winter. So we move now to the contributors to the stock exchange 10 years and over. We begin with Mrs. Cadil McNaught Hermit. Let us hear it for Mr. Andre Tulloch. And he is followed by Mr. Neville Ellis. Let us hear it for Mrs. Angela Bailey. Mr. Michael Johnson. And rounding out this category 10 years and over is Miss Monia Hibbert.
Terry, I'm going to give your pipes a rest while I just take over here for the next category of JSE 5 years and over. Please put your hands together one more time for the staff of the world-class Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of your award ceremony. On behalf of Sir Michael Anthony Cuff and myself, congratulations on 50 years. We wish to see you do 100 and 100 and 100 more, and certainly keep on knocking down those barriers. And I'd love to keep on reading about our stock market doing and being the best. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your company. Thank you for your time.
We're with General Manager of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Marlene Street Forrest. Indeed, an illustrious career, certainly with the Jamaica Stock Exchange, taking it to higher heights and global recognition. Your thoughts on the JSE at 50?
Well, the JSE at 50, we have come a far way, we're a long way. And you know, what we have done is we are in the digital age. And I'm pleased that we are properly positioned for the next 50. Because it is important that we see growth and continued development. And the JSE is here in Jamaica, but we are positioned for the world. Globally, we are making progress. And soon you will see more about us in terms of the digital age. Digital assets, we will be looking at things like short selling, margin trading, all of those things that are really critical to the growth and development of the company.
Giving fitting recognition to employees, the way to close out the 50th anniversary of the Jamaica Stock Exchange's awards. Indeed, a stellar event attended by the movers and shakers in Jamaica's financial industry. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Elon Parkinson for Business Access TV, serious about business.
We are serious about the business of real estate, so catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
They are best known for their bananas, but be it pineapples or coconuts, whichever fruit or food, just know it's 100% Jamaican. I'm talking about Jamaica producers through their brand St. Mary's. Hi, I'm Javon Keys and Business Access TV is here to bring you the launch of their Heritage Project, which is a national initiative geared towards improving the nutrition of students in schools. Stay tuned.
My name is Terry Carell, and I am pleased to be your MC for a number of reasons. Number one, we will be having the JP St. Mary's Farm Tour, but more importantly, we will also be launching the Heritage Project. I'm not going to say too much about it, except for the fact that we understand that there has been a crisis. We understand that children are going to school that are malnourished or are not choosing the right options, no fault of their own. And as much as there are feeding programs in schools, these feeding programs also need support. And so I'm so happy about the initiative that JP St. Mary's has decided to do called the Heritage Project. Number two, I am a St. Mary's baby. Not that I was born in the parish, but I eat St. Mary's banana chips all the time. The last time I hosted the launch, I wore a dress that was like banana chippy, plantain chippy. So when I heard that they were going to do the farm that has bananas and it also has pineapples, and then there's JP and there's JP tropical food, I decided to come looking like a tropical banana. Did I do okay? All right. St. Mary's banana chips is the only chips that I buy. My household, my family, this is the only banana chips that we buy.
Every year, round about September, I typically do a trade visit with my team. Nelita White has done it many times with me. David Martin has done it many times. We choose a place and go deep, whether it's Coronation Market or Princess Street or the bus parade, Halfway Tree. This year, we decided we would go to schools with a view to understanding the competition, understanding the pricing, the point of sale experience. We went to a very large, and I won't name it, primary school in Kingston. Had over 1,000 students. Walked through the canteen, looked at the competition, looked at what was available. And before I could leave the school, an administrator came up to me and tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Mr. Hall, the principal would like to see you in her office." Now, as somebody, as you know, Aaron, who had his own days in school, that was something I take very seriously. And so we went quickly to the principal's office. And the principal said, "Mr. Hall, you need to know something. and I think everybody here should know this as well. She said, you can give a student a uniform, you can give them books, a pen, a pencil, a paper, a school desk, a classroom, a teacher, but if you don't give them a breakfast, you've just wasted 100% of your money. And she said, Mr. Hall, I need you to tell your board, Mr. Johnston, and your shareholders to do something about that. Well, it's a tall ask, and I figured, how do we find a win-win solution? But as I left the office that day, I heard the definitive answer, because lined up outside her office were 1,000 students, the promise of Jamaica, dressed up, poised, ready to take charge, and they were saying, and I realized upon hearing that there's got to be a win-win. And with that, we decided to push forward and announce for you today, with the full support of our board, shareholders, and team, in answer to that pledge, the Heritage Project. That commitment, in honor of our 90th anniversary, is to make 1 million pounds of bananas in our 90th year, and we will carry it forward if it works. 1 million pounds of green bananas grown right here on this farm at the rock bottom price, all-time low of $5 Jamaican per pound to every public school in Jamaica. And our goals for this project are fivefold. We're calling it the Heritage Project. Firstly, the Heritage Project must not introduce any stigma in how meals are provided every day. Whether the student is on path, the program or not, we don't want any child in this country to feel shame when they need something healthy to eat. For us, there is no stigma in this project. It is not a handout. It is an investment available to everyone, for everyone. Secondly, the Heritage Project, Minister Tufton, as you have said, must create an opportunity to teach lifelong healthy eating skills and habits. The plan is to make green bananas form part of a delicious and healthy meals. We're working with chefs and food technologists to help kids to develop a taste for fresh, nutritious food and to form healthy eating habits. Thirdly, we must protect our most vulnerable children against hunger. We know that when children are hungry, they're more likely to get sick, to recover slowly from illness. They don't catch up as easily from common childhood diseases, and their bodies can't grow to their fullest potential. Fourthly, we must bolster learning. We know the students who eat breakfast regularly have been found to have higher math grades. We know that 9 out of 10 teachers say that a healthy breakfast is key to academic achievement. We know that a healthy breakfast leads to a 17.5% increase in math students from students who consistently start their day with a healthy meal. Finally, and importantly, the Heritage Project must be widely available to every public school, and it must be known to be widely available. And we're not bringing any ego to this project. We're willing to partner with anyone who can help to make this a full success. Ladies and gentlemen, we at JP, we produce about 14 million pounds of bananas every year on this farm. And we know that we have the soil, the land, we have the sunshine to produce 7% more bananas and to make this happen. Because above all else, we have the people, and they're here today. A team of over 200 team members. And frankly, this is their gift. And we want you to see firsthand what they do so that you can thank them. And we can thank them together for what we're going to do on behalf of Jamaica. And this is why we've asked you to join us today.
This is the first of the harvest. This is a symbolic representation and handover for what the Heritage Project truly represents, where it will touch health, education, and of course, the agricultural industry. Congratulations. Well done.
We're here at the launch of the Heritage Project for Jamaica producers through its brand, St. Mary's. We take our first break. We'll be right back.
Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour.
Bullseye for Eyes Summer Sale. Try your luck at the Bullseye and get up to 40% off your frames. Land on the Bullseye and your eyeglasses are completely free. This summer, July 15th to August 31st, everyone is a winner at Island Eyewear. Conditions apply. Call 630-1180 or visit islandeyewear.com. Island Eyewear, your price, your style.
All human life is precious. Respect life. No more senseless killings. No more.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art, I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Welcome back. You're tuned into BATV's coverage of the launch of Jamaica Producers through its brand St. Mary's Heritage Project. We head back to the stage.
It's one thing to hear the call. It's another thing to actually act upon it. It's one thing to talk the talk. It is another thing to actually walk the walk. And the fact that the principal had that moment with him and he took it back to the board, and this is the manifestation, speaks to what JP is all about. So congratulations again.
Up in the hills where the streams are cool, and mullets and jangas swim in the pool. I have 10 acres of mountainside, and a dainty foot donkey that I ride. 4 Rose Michel and 4 Lacatan, some coconut trees and some hills of yam. And I pasture on that very same land. 5 she-goats and a big black ram. That's my God, and this big right hand is
So we spoke about the Heritage Project having many tentacles in the health, the education, and as well as the agricultural sector. At this time, I'm going to invite the Honorable Floyd Green, State Minister in the Ministry of Education, Youth, and Information, to kindly bring his greetings. Please make him welcome.
Well, I am very, very happy to be here. And I really want to start by first congratulating the JP Group. I think 90 years for any company is an exceptional feat. And I think we should give them a big, big round of applause. But I think the story is even more extraordinary when you think about the area in which JP has operated and the fact that they have gone through so many different challenges, from weather occurrences, devastations, to the farms, loss of traditional markets, but yet still you've been able not only to survive, but to thrive and to expand. And I think the JP story is really synonymous with the Jamaican story. It's a story of resilience. The reality is that I know you have a number of different calls, and you could have decided to do a number of different areas in terms of your social outreach. But I think you have seen and you have done, you have brought us here together because you are contributing to an area which touches on education, touches on health, touches on agriculture, but more importantly, which really will secure the heritage of Jamaica by making our children better. So if you know the history of our country, our last dispensation was that we had a school feeding program only 3 days out of the week. And what the research showed us was that on those 3 days, the attendance at school was higher, which shows a direct correlation between our children coming to school because they were now able to be fed. And that for us is a stark reality. And that is why as a government we had said we would put more resources behind the school feeding program. So last year we put an additional $2 billion into our school feeding program to bring up our total spend to $4.7 billion, to move from 3 days per week to finally move to 5 days per week, 1 meal a day for 5 days per week. We've gone a bit further because we polled our schools to see what was the difficulty in offering a school feeding program. And a number of them said we had challenges paying for our chefs. And as such, this year the government has taken on the responsibility to pay for all the chefs in our public schools. We now pay for over 1,000 chefs across our public schools. We also recognize that one of the challenges was the kitchen space. And as such, we have been on a 2-year drive to improve the kitchens of our schools. This year we're spending over $200 million to improve our kitchens across our public schools. So we have taken significant steps, but quite frankly, still not enough. I think all of us would not only want to provide 1 meal per day, but we would want to have a school feeding program that is able to provide breakfast and lunch. And the only way we can achieve that is through partnership. And that is why I truly applaud and welcome this move by JP. And I can tell you, I speak on behalf of the ministry, but also on behalf of the schools and on behalf of our children, that we welcome this move. And that this is a game-changing move to really strengthen our school feeding program. And there's another element that I think this project does. Not only will it allow us to expand the reach of our school feeding program, we have been grappling with for a long time as a country, how can we get more nutritious products into the hands of our children? So it's one thing to be able to provide lunch, but the other issue, which I'm sure Dr. Tufton will speak to, is what do you provide? Is what you are providing really helping the children in terms of their health, in terms of their nutrition? And the good thing with this project is that there's no question that putting green banana into our menus will provide a nutritious, healthy solution for our children. Plus, it will provide a product which is Jamaican. And we have been again grappling with how can we ensure that in our school feeding program, we're eating what we actually grow. So I think this is sending a wonderful message. So I will end where I started. We welcome, endorse, and applaud this move. We believe it is a game-changing move in relation to helping us as a ministry to expand our school feeding program. More importantly, we do believe that our children will be better off because of this project, which in essence will help them to eat better, learn better, and live better. Thank you.
Thank you so very much to Minister Floyd Green and, of course, to the ministry.
We'll be right back.
Do you want more experience from your SUV? Introducing the 2020 Nissan X-Trail with leading-edge technology, intelligent ride and chassis control, a round view monitor, and hill start assist for confidence behind the wheel. Plus, auto headlights and panoramic sunroof. Drive the SUV with more experience. The Nissan X-Trail, available today at Fidelity Motors.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
I will now invite Dr. the Honorable Christopher Tufton, Mr. Jamaica Moves himself, to bring his greetings.
I must tell you, I feel like I'm on very familiar territory. And I certainly look forward to the tour because my time spent here at JP Farms has some precious memories, and it's always good to revisit those memories. Let me just begin by saying I think Jamaica Producers Group has gotten it right. This is a company that is 90 years old, which clearly has demonstrated longevity, and you don't do things wrong and last for 90 years. And that to my mind goes without question, without contradiction. And, you know, if I were to identify two of the very important factors that I believe contributes to that success over those 90 years, it would be, one, that this is a company that believes in investing in local capacity. And indeed, the local agricultural sector would not be where it is today if we didn't have a Jamaica Producers and a long history of investment in local capacity. Very importantly also, this is an entity that doesn't just respond to what the market wants, but a company based on its philosophy believes in doing the right thing for the consumer. And there's a difference, because sometimes what the market wants is not always what is the right thing for the consumer. And I'm speaking here purely from a health and wellness perspective. And so I want to use the opportunity to just say commendations, recognition to Jamaica Producers Group on this 90 years of existence. I believe you will go on to survive and to sustain yourselves as you serve the people of Jamaica and outside of Jamaica. And in regards to the Heritage Project, I believe again I can say that you have gotten it right. in the concept and in what you aim to deliver in this project. We have the data as it relates to our school population, our younger age cohort. And that data is manifested in our global school health survey, a recent one being published earlier this year, which says that obesity levels within our school population has doubled over the last 7 years. The last 2 surveys that we have done, which are 7 years apart, shows an increase, a 100% increase in obesity levels in males, in our boys, and almost 70% increase in our girls. This is very concerning to us because if obesity levels in our schools increase by almost 100% every 7 years, then one can imagine where we will be over time in terms of premature illness, premature deaths, impact on productivity, impact on development, and I could go on and on. So the reality is that from a public health, from a health and wellness perspective, we have a duty, we have an obligation to respond to this challenge that we face among this younger age cohort, the future generation of our country. And part of that approach, and we've been discussing that with the Ministry of Education, we've been discussing it with the Minister of Agriculture, is to change the lifestyle and the behavior of our young people, starting on the school compounds, but also over time, hopefully develop a different approach even as they grow and mature into adulthood. And that change in lifestyle basically comprises 2 very important things. One, get them to improve and increase their physical activity. In the days when we were young, we used to run up and down and play all over the place. Today, children are stuck on the technology, the iPads, the phones, the computers, and they live a sedentary lifestyle. They are not as active as they used to be. So the physical activity component, and we're working on that with the Ministry of Education. But secondly, and perhaps even more importantly, and this is where the Heritage Project for us is a big win, nutrition. Now, Jeffrey spoke about hunger, and there is an element of that in the school system, as reflected by the principal whom he had discussions with. But a bigger problem in our school system is improper nutrition based on what the kids eat, whether at home, on the streets, and indeed on the school compound, based on what is available to them. And if we are to change that, we're going to have to do a couple of things. The Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health are working together to develop a nutrition policy, which early in the new year will become the policy to guide the options that are available to the students once they are on the compound, on the campuses of these institutions. And those options will include a variety, but very importantly, combined should capture a more balanced diet in order to enhance the nutritional content of our young people. From that perspective, the Heritage Project fits very nicely because for one, Jeffrey, you're promoting a product that is fresh as opposed to processed and stored. You're promoting a product that is nutritious and frankly speaking is familiar to all of us. All of us would have tasted and experienced the taste of green bananas. We're going to have to be creative, which you are working on in terms of your chefs and nutritionists in putting the product together in different formats. And I would encourage you to let the schools also be a part of that process, into some competition of sorts, because our children are quite creative. And each school has a home economic department. If they are sufficiently incentivized, even with recognition alone, I believe you'll see some amazing creative displays which ultimately can become mainstreamed in institutions. But all combined, what the Heritage Project will do is provide an affordable option in terms of the product that you're offering to tap into what is not a luxury, but a necessity, the enhancing of the nutritional content for our young people to support the challenge, overcoming the challenges of obesity. So we look forward to that. We want to be a part of that in the Ministry of Health. We endorse this project as a result of that. And I don't want to say much, but Jeffrey and I and the team that is involved with the Jamaica Moves program are working together, having discussions. And in the new year, you will hear some finer details as it relates to the Heritage Project and Jamaica Moves in Schools, which we will launch come early January.
We'll be right back.
It's Island Hour, it's Island Hour, it's Island Hour.
Bullseye for Eyes Summer Sale. Try your luck at the Bullseye and get up to 40% off your frames. Land on the Bullseye and your eyeglasses are completely free. This summer, July 15th to August 31st, everyone is a winner at Island Eyewear. Conditions apply. Call 630-1180 or visit islandeyewear.com. Island Eyewear. Your price, your style.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we knock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back. You're tuned into BATV's coverage of the launch of Jamaica Producers through its brand St. Mary's Heritage Project.
I'm almost overwhelmed at the potential of this project. Not just for the project itself, but the inspiration that it can provide on a wider scale to include every small farmer in this country, which numbers almost 240,000 people. It's the largest single employment group in the country. Feeding our children, nutrition, with what we grow, is a prosperity plan. And indeed, we need to. Because in the 1960s, there were 2 other countries that were pretty close to our level of growth. Singapore and Israel. Today, Singapore, that is the size of Hanover, one parish, their per capita income is 60,000 United States dollars per person. In Israel, that is surrounded by desert land, they have to extract salt water from the sea to irrigate agricultural land. And the level of agriculture there, Charlie tells me he's been there 3 times. And even at one time, I believe, had an Israeli citizen here working with you, bringing in that technology. Their per capita income in Israel today is 40,000 United States dollars. You know what ours is? Less than 6,000 United States dollars. So, moving from poverty to prosperity, with the vast acreages of arable, idle land that we have in this country, moving from poverty to prosperity must no longer be a slogan. It has to be a way of life. And we have a lot of catching up to do, and very fast. This has been an extraordinary week for me, outside of opening my clinic with Dr. Tufton. I met with a young man, a Jamaican, 35 years old, who is a nutritionist and has made it his mission to encourage and promote eating Jamaican food. His name is Peter Ivy, and he has formed a company called Mission Food Possible. You hear the name? Mission Food Possible. One of the things he showed me was a list of foods produced in Jamaica, including banana, pumpkin, sweet potato, right down the line. And guess what? The nutritional value of every one of them was better than the imported flour and the imported rice. Every one of them without exception. Then the second one we had this week was the launching at the Ministry of Agriculture, RADA offices, a tourism agri-linkages exchange program. It is a program that is designed to connect our farmers across the country with the value chain and food chain going into the tourism industry. Because far too much of the food our tourists are eating are literally flying in on the planes with them, while we have idle lands and idle hands. Then, the final project I want to mention to you, which is very much, this launch today can be seen as the hub and the beginning of that process. An ambitious plan that we have to feed all our children in schools. Feed them. Right now, 80% of what our children eat is imported. Can you imagine that? And a lot of it is basically flour, rice, and bag juice. You know what I'm talking about. Sugar and water. That's it. Flour, rice, sugar, and water. Unacceptable is what my 9-year-old daughter would say. Unacceptable. When Jamaica, that is far more blessed with rainfall and land, arable land, than Israel, where they have mango orchards in Israel, why aren't we having a whole heap of mango orchards in Jamaica? And instead of our children drinking bag juice, them drink mango juice. Or mango nectar, whatever. Why don't we have more citrus groves planted? Lots of questions we have to answer. And because of the position that I'm in, I have to face those questions frontally. $5 a pound for banana, which is more nutritious than imported flour. The market price for the bananas is $25 a pound. And we're getting it for our schools from JP for $5 a pound. Minister of Education, please advise your minister, and you and him agree, to send a message to all schools that this is not optional. This is not an option. They must embrace this opportunity for our children.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
So we've heard from the speakers at the official launch of the Heritage Project by Jamaica Producers through its brand St. Mary's. Now it's time to head to the farm. Let's go. Tell us, Ms. Goldburn, how did this idea come about?
Well, as you know, Jamaica Producers has been in the farming business for 89 years. In April next year, we actually celebrate our 90th anniversary. And so we wanted a project that would make an impact, a project that was bold. Every year we actually go to the different channels that we serve and we take a look and we look at what's happening. And so this year we decided to actually visit some of the schools. And so as early as September this year, we went into a few schools and we took a look and we wanted to understand what was happening. And we really saw that there was a need for us to create a program where every child must be fed. And so we sat down, we conceptualized, and we thought, we're in the business of farming. It is our core business that we do. In celebration of 90 years, why not make bananas available to every single child in Jamaica?
And certainly an idea that I'm sure will take on. But how has the support from schools been so far? Have schools expressed interest in being a part of the program so far?
Well, today is actually the launch of the project, meaning that we have already gotten our partners on board. We have the support of the Ministry of Education, we have the support of the Ministry of Health, and of course, we couldn't do this without the Ministry of Agriculture. And so all three ministers were actually here today in support of the project. We actually began this project in January 2019, and that's when we'll actually do our first deliveries for this project. What we've been doing now is really going out, calling these schools, and I mean, we have over 20 schools that have expressed interest, that have already signed on to the project. And I think this is really phenomenal because we are now looking to corporate entities to say that we will partner with you. We don't have a problem partnering with any corporate entity. And so we're asking any corporate entity, you can sponsor a school of your choice. You know, call us, we'll have a conversation, tell us who you want to sponsor. And even if you want to give $1,000 for the week at $5 per pound, that's more than enough to take care of the children within the school for that week. We have started this project we're looking at it as a one-year project because it's our 90th anniversary. But based on the feedback that we've gotten, we're definitely looking to extend it past the one-year mark.
And are there considerations to also add some of your other stuff like the pineapples and the coconuts?
Well, we will look at what we can add, but for now we're actually focused on green bananas. One of the things that so today we spoke heavily about schools and being able to provide them with the food, but we're also looking to add healthcare onto this and also register charities. So that's the long-term view of the project in the next couple of months, I want to say later on into 2019, we'll be able to offer this product to healthcare institutions, hospitals, registered charities. So we're talking about Food for the Poor, Father Hulong. You know, they can come in and they can actually sign up, and at $5 per pound, I think the entire Jamaica can be fed.
Certainly, and it's going to, I'm sure, be a big help to many of these persons. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So we know that there are many diseases which may impact the banana plant. Tell us about some of those here in Jamaica.
Well, the main disease here is sigatoka. It's a disease burn the leaves. If you are able to see in the tips of the leaf, you will see some burn. That is the disease. We are implemented a new practice. This practice was developed some years ago in Africa, and only in Honduras, in my country, they established that practice, and we are doing here, and is eliminate the underleaves. The analysis was this: is when you understand the physiology of the crop, is the youngest leaves are the leaves participate in the photosynthesis, are the more important leaves for produce food. The underleaves receive shade of the top leaves. That means the underleaves are not really important for produce banana, but the disease is different. The sigatoka grow first in the underleaves. What we do is we train the workers for count the leaves and eliminate the underleaves.
So how successful has that strategy been so far in eliminating?
We only have established that practice in this farm. And you can see, you are harvesting with 5, 6 leaves. It's really great. The wonderful thing of the banana is provide work every day. We work 5, 6 days in a week doing the different activities like the cultivation activities or what we are seeing here, the harvesting activities. Okay, for hurricanes, we have for not a hurricane, but normal winds, we have the aerial cable. You see that structure? We tie the banana to that structure. And the second is the more important for the banana is the excess of water. That's the reason we have drainage structures and we have irrigation for the drought. That means we need to set a farm grow and can produce banana in the drought and in the rainy period.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. Our Minister Green, tell us how important is this program in helping to bolster the projects that are already being implemented by the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information in schools?
It is critical. I think it's a game-changing move. For a very long time as a country, we've been trying to see how can we expand our school feeding program. We've been inviting private sector to come on board and to partner with the government. We have already, over the last 2 years, increased our school feeding program by $2 billion so that we can move to providing meals for our children at least 5 days per week. But we want to do more, and we understand that in order to do more, we need significant innovative partnership. I think this really is a check in all of those areas. One, it provides us an opportunity by the pricing of the bananas to get an affordable option into our schools. So that's a big plus for us. Clearly, with affordable option, it means you can expand what you offer and you can also reach more children, which is really what we want to do. But more importantly, I think it sends a great signal that we can find ways to use our local grown produce in our school feeding program in a way that ensures that we have more nutritious meals and that we have just a better program overall. So for us, it's a positive step, and it's great that it's being really driven by the private sector. I think it will inspire other members of the private sector to look and see how they can creatively come up with ways to help the school feeding program. You know, it doesn't have to be actual money resources into our school to help the program, but things like this. And clearly, I think even this project, the fact that JP is making these bananas available, now other private entities can look on and say they may want to provide the bananas using this for the school. And I think that would go a far way in helping us.
So this is a huge step, yes, but one of the very important things is the education of these students about the importance of having healthy nutrition. What are some of the steps that the ministry is looking at to ensure that it's not just about telling them to eat, but letting them know exactly why they should eat healthy?
You know, over the last few years, we have really taken a strategic approach in relation to engaging our canteens, engaging our chefs. Each summer, we now bring them together to look at more nutritious items that they can provide. We've also been bringing them together to look at how they can incorporate our locally grown food items into what they provide, because oftentimes, if they're able to use like a banana, like a potato in a creative way, then it breaks down some of the barriers in terms of continuing with the same that normally is provided to our children. We've seen a great take up on that. Clearly, one of the I would say the stumbling blocks is price point, right? In a school feeding program, you want to treat it as much children as possible. So as such, oftentimes you're looking at the cheapest option. The cheapest option may not necessarily be the most nutritious option. So clearly, as a ministry, what we're trying to do is to engage our private sector. How can we align the most nutritious option at a price point that will make it affordable for us to really provide it to our children? I think that is what JP has done. They've been able to align a nutritious option with a price point that's affordable that now can be engaged through our schools.
Could you tell us how the schools will be selected for this program? Is it that they
No,
express
well,
interest?
the beauty is that it's an open offer. It's an open offer to all public schools, and I think we should make the point. In all public schools, not just at the primary and secondary level, even our early childhood institutions, right? So it's an open offer that any public institution can get the bananas at this point. So that is the beauty of the offer. I think what we have to do now as a ministry, working with our partner at JP, is see how we can ensure we set up distribution channels to make it even easier for them to access it. So the offer is there. I know a lot of the schools say, how can we now get it into our schools? And if we can cut transportation costs, if we can cut distribution costs so that it's not an addition, then clearly I think the take-up will be even greater. So we've already started the discussions, and we're going to continue discussions how as a ministry now we can get these bananas into our schools.
Mr. Hall, so for clarity, tell us, the program is worth $50 million, or will the schools be receiving, overall, you'll be giving to schools $50 million? Explain to us.
So it's worth $50 million. Now, to tell you the truth, in this country, like any country, food is a currency in itself, okay? So $50 million is the difference between the price that you'd buy it in the market and the price that we're going to make it available to students in public schools.
And how does that compare to market value?
It's about 20% of the market value, about an 80% discount on market prices.
Whoa, but with that great reduction, there must be some consideration for your bottom line. How will that be affected?
Okay, so for us, first of all, this is part of what we believe in. We've been in agriculture for 90 years in Jamaica, and we're absolutely convinced that in order to make Jamaica fulfill its overall promise for our overall network of businesses, we need a strong education system. So that alone gives us a return. JP is well invested in Jamaica. This isn't our only business. That's number one. Number two is we produce 14 million pounds of bananas every year. So 1 million pounds sounds like a lot of bananas, but it's about a 7% increase relative to what we do now. We are implementing a series of technological enhancements that improve our yield, that improve our productivity. We know we have the land to do it, so we're confident that barring a adverse weather event, a catastrophe like a hurricane, that the farm can add value. So we believe we can deliver.
Well, from a health and wellness perspective, we are very concerned about obesity levels in our schools. In fact, the last global school health survey suggests that the obesity levels are doubling every 7 years, which means that our children are more susceptible to illnesses, which clearly will affect their development, their growth, their learning capacity, and ultimately premature illnesses and death. So for us from the health ministry, we have to respond. And part of that response is the introduction of Jamaica Moves in Schools, which has a physical activity component, but also a nutrition component. That nutrition component is going to be guided by the school's nutrition policy that we're developing with the Ministry of Education. And a big part of that is how do we get our kids to eat more local, more fresh, a more balanced diet. And the Heritage Project by Jamaica Producers certainly has introduced a fruit, the banana, that will certainly tie very nicely into that program. So we endorse and support the program because it is in keeping with what we need to promote as part of the overall health and wellness of our kids.
But speaking about the existing program, tell us a little bit about the challenges that have been faced to implement the program and how this initiative also helps to somewhat mitigate against some of those issues.
Right. So in terms of nutrition, one of the challenges that you will face quickly is what is available to be able to provide a fresher, healthier alternative. This program clearly makes the fruit, banana, available. They have made a generous offer, so it's affordable, and that alone gives an option to canteen operators, to the schools, to be able now to have access, affordable access, and it's for them now to be creative in providing the menu and the recipes to make it attractive, and of course the nutrition is there. So I think just the availability of the product, oftentimes you hear canteen operators, schools complain about them only having access to certain foods. And what JP has done by manufacturing, packaging a specific offer that's affordable, it will certainly give the school the opportunity to access, and that's good.
In some schools, the canteens are operated by concessionaires. Is there anything in this new policy that will essentially mandate these institutions to put in place dietary considerations for the students?
So the nutrition policy that I spoke of earlier will in fact mandate via policy within the school environment those who are operating within that environment to offer a balanced diet and healthier options. Not suggesting that what they offer now won't be there, but it will have to also include healthier options. So children will have choices, and certainly we will encourage kids through on-campus promotion and advertising and of course public education to look at those healthier options and to show the relationship between the options and their own health status. So yes, it may require adjustments with what is now on offer by the operators on the compounds.
All right, Minister Shaw, so tell us, this program being put in place by JP, how does it add to the mandate of the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries?
Well, I think it's a source of tremendous inspiration. And this is something I'd love to see every farmer who wants to get into bananas should come and look at the model that is here. Because it's obvious that they appropriate a lot of technology in how they manage the trees to achieve maximum productivity per tree, right? And that is significant. In fact, some of the things they showed us here, like taking the buds off at a certain time and taking the smaller fruit off from the bottom so that you can allow the other fruit to get mature and get bigger. These are things that in a typical small farmer situation, the bunch of banana is just allowed to, grow. But obviously, what is being done here is to maximize the productivity per bunch. And they are showing to Jamaica and to other entrepreneurs what we can do. I have thousands of acres of land now to lease out to other farmers to do all kinds of things,
yes, Minister,
including more bananas.
So, and on that note,
Minister,
Minister,
one of the things we're doing now, we're not exporting fresh bananas anymore now. It's all processed here now and going away as banana chips and so on. But there are still other countries, like in South America, that are exporting bananas to the United States and Europe. So if we grow more bananas, we can get back into the fresh banana export business.
And that's it for our coverage of the launch of Jamaica Producers through its brand St. Mary's Heritage Project that will be feeding thousands of many young Jamaicans. I'm Javon Keys for Business Access TV, serious about business.
Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for